Very good morning to everybody. I hope you had a good weekend. Mine, I would say, was very interesting. I had a fall this weekend, but it's interesting to contemplate what kind of fall. I went up 2 flights of steps and I got to the top one and I said, my husband was right behind me. I said, I just don't feel like I can step into this nothingness. And then I went to pull a card for today, and I've been pretty much very good since. The card came out, the leap, and it says ecstasy, bliss, and belief. And I'll go read what more that says, but it is what I felt was in front of me was nothingness. So it was like it was a slow motion roll. And here I am. So we just never know. We look beyond what some things mean. So good morning to Chase and Carol and Barbara Ward. Good morning, Julie Johnson. I'm glad you all made it here today. And before we start, let's set our energy as we ask for Mother, Father to come deep within our hearts. And we think of a tube of light and the protective blue flame of Lord Gautama Buddha around it. Taking breaths, breathing all that inside us. Calling up all the phylums of the angels, the ascended masters, welcoming those from the universe that walk in light to join us. And let's make our prayer. I am the soul. I am the light divine. I am love. I am will. I am fixed design. Take a very deep breath and breathe that down into every cell of who you are. Excellent. I hope you're all still doing your 9 circular motions on each side of your heart and transforming. So, Chase, I did see your question this morning, and the one thing I did do was get some new sets of cards on Friday. So I thought, well, let me just see what they might pull and have to say. So excuse me if I'm going to refer to the book a little bit because I'm not always familiar with all of them. But she says, asking for prayers for this beautiful earth. How can we raise the frequency of the world collectively? So these are the frequency cards that have activations, oracles. So first of all, I want to say, understand that the earth lies within each of our hearts. And how we live in our heart, perceive our heart, radiate our heart, all the things that can possibly have access to with our heart is dependent on how we are having an effect upon the earth. And while, remember, we have no ability to affect someone else's will or go against it. So the important thing for each of us to do is to make sure that our heart is knowing peace, living gentleness and kindness and joy and happiness. But let me read you, first let me show you. This is the card that came up first, prosperity. Now, it is interesting. When we mention prosperity, we think of one thing: money, bank accounts. And I'll read to you what it says in the little books in a moment, but let me read the card. The frequency of prosperity supports our feeling of well-being by allowing the inclusion of everything that makes our body, mind, heart, soul, and spirit sing. It invites us to express ourselves in joy and celebration of the abundance and riches that the universe has already provided with us. Now, very fascinating frequency of light, right? So here is more of what it says. Okay. And it's interesting because right away it says how to redefine your human concept of the word prosperity, and how we experience the state of consciousness within us. The word prosperity from Latin is prosperous, which means doing well, but it means much more than our financial wellness. And that's a new lesson for all of us to learn today, if you haven't already. The original meaning encompassed the totality of our well-being, happiness, health, as well as our success. Seems that we've lost this meaning over time. We've grown accustomed, like I said, to thinking of our bank accounts. The activation of this card is the abundance of rich, deep, and vibrant colors, refer to the abundance of experience in the universe provided in any given moment. Experience and resonate with all the parts of our being and activate all the energy centers, chakras in our body. Those swirling movements indicate the constant change that is at the core of our human experience. Like I say to most people, I can see and observe who everyone is by looking at their chakras and their aura. Everyone thinks that's an old time thing, and it's not. It's relevant to this moment as to where you are and how you're living and what you think. Now, especially through the heart center, where we can connect them with our inner truth before we express whatever that is out into the world. Now you're going to see a forest here in the background, and maybe that's the little green triangles and the double squares. Let me see where they are. I guess you'd have to sit and ponder this for a moment. Support the activation of prosperity on the level of our earthly plane in our daily lives, so that all of our needs are fulfilled, emotional and spiritual plane, as well as the ones that ensure our physical survival and well-being. The flowers at the corners represent the beautiful potential for new life, new possibilities, and new richness, and grows from each new moment. Number 8 is the manifestation number, referring to our capacity to create our reality and our prosperity on this earth plane through an open heart and a clear and focused intent. The figure 8. Okay. Very powerful. So let's all take a breath and breathe this energy, if you would like, into your consciousness and let it go about changing what you thought prosperity was and heightening your consciousness. Instead of thinking that the world is going down a slow slide, we have to put the positive intent of how wonderfully happy and good and caring and loving and fulfilling this earth is, and that it's being supportive in many ways and love, very loving. So when we change our intent deep within our hearts, Chase, I believe that's what will change the world. The difference in how people choose to meditate, how they used to have and use the gift of the consciousness of the mind is all a very different experience in changing the consciousness in the world. It changes the paradigm when enough people, and it takes a shift into a new level a higher consciousness when we all gather together. Now, the next card was interesting. The sacral chakra, which the sacral chakra is known to be the one in the front full of emotions. It's where we feel things from a distorted personality place. But yet the back of the sacral chakra is the identification of self, the wealth of self, and eventually moves as you move back through and deepen that chakra into who you become. So let's see what it has to say. The frequency of the sacral chakra, the orange flower of life, supports our ability to flow with our desires and stimulates our creative power to manifest success and abundance in our lives. Now, when one has worked through their personality and the old way of reacting to people, then you move up into consciousness in the second chakra into creativity. And that's what it's talking about. So let's see what else these cards have to say to us. Flower of life, like we all know, is recognized by many, and you see it on a lot of old ancient, for those who watch Ancient Aliens, the flower of life is everywhere, long before of our time, who have come to know it. 13 equal circles that intersect at the middle of each circles, creating a perfectly proportioned flower. As a symbol, the flower of life represents the universe as a whole, as well as the harmony in which all the separate components of the universe work together. This beautiful pattern is often used to indicate our understanding of our connection, humans and spiritual beings, to the whole. The color orange is associated with the second or sacral chakra, located just below the navel. It is linked to our creativity, our sexuality, and your emotional world. Orange encourages movement and connection with others. It has a freeing effect on the body and mind, stimulating creative thinking, abundance, success, and appetite. Its sense is taste. So, each one of us needs to take a moment today. And is that sacral chakra open and spinning? And when we go into that chakra, what is our first thought? Is it a sad thought? If you think of the world in this chakra and you have nothing but negativity, you need to have healing done here because we can't afford that as a collective. This chakra needs to be open, spinning, consciousness higher up into creativity so we can manifest our world into what we desire it to be, which I would hope is happiness, blissfulness, serenity, joy, all these beautiful things. So here's a key to that capacity, the sacral chakra. So the third card that came was quite interesting. Dynamic. How often do you hear this word in our world? And it's a pyramid shape, triangle, whichever you would want to choose it. The frequency of dynamic supports our ability to harmonize between layers and aspects of the different origin of frequency. It helps us to put together a reality that's made up of many different elements, both familiar and completely new, with ease, grace, and great joy. Isn't that just such a unique picture? Frequency, I guess I should say. So let me go and see what she has to say about this one. I just thought the word dynamic, I just can't stop thinking about it. It's described as an energetic force or process that is constantly changing. Well, that would certainly have a description for all of us. We're all dynamic. We are all changing in every moment, whether we're choosing to participate with it or not. So when we talk about the dynamics of something, we refer to the way it works or interacts. If we add the words vibrant and full of life, which we choose to, we have a perfect description of what dynamic entails in the new energy. The triangular shape of the color of this activation refer to the masculine aspect, which is full of direction and power and presence. Okay? All the circular shapes refer to the infinite and flowing aspect of the feminine while representing the mechanism of the dynamic process. One that brings together different aspects, harmonizes them, and makes them work together. The result is a process that is alive and with energy and movement, color and change. Just by witnessing this process, one automatically becomes a part of it. It's nothing that is witnessed remains unaffected. One of the most masterful triangles in the aura of an individual would be if it was here. Third eye crown, and then down before the shoulders. Yes. It's about bringing together things that do not typically go together, whether it be color, styles, words, music, and even food. With dynamic, we bring harmony wherever we go. What a thought. We bring harmony wherever we go, intuitively sensing how everything works together. We shine our light brightly with vibrant color for everyone to see and experience. So again, it's saying, be the light you're wishing for, or be that emotion or experience. What do you want for the earth? Then become it, because it lies within you. The deep dark blue, this activation's background, indicates the depth of consciousness. There are 3 different patterns visible in the background, representing 3 different layers of consciousness. Okay. Although completely different in origin, there is an unmistakably harmony between the way these layers come together to support the dynamic process. The square border represents the form-based reality of our earthbound life. Earthbound life, the plane of our physical bodies, and the place where a dynamic process takes place. Maybe you want to write down this word. Let me get this tilted the other way. Oh, this hand works better. And have a memory of it every day for maybe 10, 15 minutes while you're quiet. Owning that you're becoming more dynamic in the highest level of consciousness every day. And then allow your awareness to show, what does that look like? And I see a lot of hands shaking and touching each other, or in prayer with each other, and acknowledge. It's a simple thing. When we attempt to make the response to chase this question difficult, we have lost the process and lost ourselves. You must understand how effortlessly this truly is from your belief. We had another thing happen this weekend. Last night we went to the grocery. Everybody does. We go to Whole Foods. My husband grabbed my purse. I said, what are you taking my purse for? I don't know. I just need to. And then I watched him. He put it on, on the little hooks on the back of the cart. We did our shopping, get home. It's like he had to go back in for something even when it's about half an hour away. But we get all the way home and guess what we don't have? My purse. I'm like kind of laughing at him. I said, I can just call and take care of getting everything that's in that purse. He was so upset. And so I said, finally, let's call them up. Maybe they have it. And no, they didn't have it. And about 15 minutes later, I saw a vision of he had picked me up at the door. I said, well, where'd you put the cart? Is it out in the parking lot, or where did you put it? Oh no, I took it inside and put it way in the back. I said, don't worry, Doug. No one has seen it. So we called the lady. She said, oh, that's good news. I wasn't looking in there. And I said, Doug, that's exactly right. No one's looking in there. And she calls us back in about 10 minutes. She says, does your purse happen to have butterflies on it? And I go, yes, it does. So Doug had to drive all the way down back and get it again. But you see, it's all about how you really thoughts are things. How are you choosing to live life and react to them? Like, this is how I saw that last step at the top of the steps. I don't think I can just step it. I couldn't. I had to. My foot just went up and it went down. But yet I know it was some kind of a leap in consciousness, and I had to take it. I had to not have fear. And as it turns out, it didn't end up too difficult for my body. I'm here. So it's interesting. I think we're reaching a time in this world where we are being challenged about, so how is it? How are you living? What are you thinking? What part of this world are you participating in? What part of this world are you making changes by how you perceive and live life? And what is the name of that deck, please? This deck is Sacred Geometry Activations, the Oracle. Pretty profound, right? And the other one is, you're going to love it. I'm going to do this one more often, is the Oracle of the Hidden Worlds. I'm going to draw one more from there so you get an idea. Does anybody have any questions about anything I said? Makes you think, doesn't it? Let me put the leaf back in. I just couldn't believe that was the first one that I pulled out today, so I set them aside. Oh, this was the next one that came out. So let's see how you like this one. It is the Healing Temple of the Lunar Light. Now, isn't that beautiful? Life cycles, energy healing, and communication. You know, there's just something about that rose pink that is enlivened. Maybe it's true for you too. I don't know. But it just goes right in and lifts me up. So let's see what number this one is. Does it have a number? Number 19. I always think everything means something, which is a 1, which is the beginning. The cycles of the lunar being who dwells within the skies above the planet have a great power to help us let go, to help us revive, to help us grow, to help us celebrate, and to help us heal in all these aspects. Likewise, the lunar light heals us as newborns, then as children, then as adults and old ones alike. She reflects these stages in her cycles, and no matter what point we are at on the wheel, we can find within her healing light the waters she blesses at every stage of the cycle, a sense of who we are truly, and bring ourselves to a place of rest and wonder within each stage. Maiden, mother, crone, hunter, father, and sage, all alike must enter this temple of wisdom from our cycles, and the temple now calls you to honor the stage of your life you are at. Each stage has its challenges, and as you begin to honor where you are on the wheel, there will be a healing in the energy within. Every cell within you, the DNA inside each cell, will respond to the healing light of the moon. If you take yourself out beneath her at the stage which is calling you, you will begin to find a serenity and a solace that the daylight cannot give you. And within those moments, if you let your gaze soften, you may see revealed in the healing temple the lunar light, which lies between the worlds, and which is there for you when you open up and allow yourself to receive their blessings. And as you receive, so shall you learn and become the healer who walks in the world and whose energy can change those about you. Again, very profound. So, as time goes on, and I study with them, we'll bring that more into our world, not as a card reading like people do, but as information. So, anyone else have any thoughts or questions? And is the question that can we do a prayer for the earth? And I would say, let's allow I did a funny thing. I switched every card and every book into the wrong box. Let's allow for the next 7 days. 7 is the number of faith, that we take time and go within our earth inside our heart. There is one, I assure you. This lady did my soul portrait in exchange for her beads. And it was quite interesting to see that she showed a beautiful big earth inside my heart. So it can't be that I'm the only one that has that. I believe it's in every soul. And the clearing allows it to become forward. So let's take 7 days and contemplate our thoughts. What are we manifesting in the world through the thoughts we have about it? You know what I'm saying? We are participants in what it is today. And you could also say to me, well, that can't be true. Well, the more of us that can bring about shift and change in how we hold and perceive all the various things that are happening, certainly a lot right now with climate change. We've been being told for a very long time, and everybody's kind of been poo-poo. I shouldn't say everybody, a lot of people. So now you want to ask yourself, what are you willing to do in your life that maybe before you really didn't think it was necessary? I think it's a necessary time. And I think it's going to be powerful when people discover that they do have a say and a participation in what's occurring. And it'll be through your thought process and your prayers and your meditation and how you place yourself into the world. That's what's going to help the world, no matter whatever anyone else tells you. It is how it works. Everything we speak goes out into consciousness and never stops moving through. The words that Jesus spoke are still moving, and some days we can feel it touch us. His cellular experience is still in the air as we all breathe. So don't be silly. It's all there. We need to draw it to us and to give it action through us to help bring the desired hopes we have about peace and harmony, loving and gentleness and community. All these things we have the power to become a part of. And I believe here on this channel, this is what we're doing. I don't feel judgment here. I don't feel criticism. It's an embracing. So let's take that understanding and bring it into an embracing for around the world. People in France, people in Spain. Yeah, could be different. Maybe they see differently. But in the core, we are all one. That is a true experience to have, to hold, and to really understand. We are one. And in that oneness, what do we want to place into consciousness of the world? And let's begin to see if we can see some of the old crack and some of the new burst out in light in our world, and things will change. I've seen it before. It can happen. And that is what your healing path is about. Getting to where you can learn to walk every step in light and love and how you present yourself into the world, in that loving, into that willingness to experience. I knew it wasn't going to be normal, me going up that last step, but I knew I had to do it. I had a lot of falls that weren't so good. So this one, I'm up and feeling pretty much normal. And yet I fell into nothing. There was just cement. Oh, and there happened to be 2 young, beautiful men close who could come and help me get up. 2 angels. So it was all very well planned. So keep those angels close. As you hold that light and experience inside you, they'll just be always there for you. So there's some people here I didn't get to say hello to. Yes, Barbara, it's true. Some of them are. There's a couple I bought that I won't open. I'm going to give them as gifts to somebody. But sometimes they're going to hit something inside of you, and whatever that artist drew and the words that come are meant to be participant in your life. So good morning, Marby. And I guess there's 3 or 4 of you there. Yeah. Didn't see us, Sandy. Let me see. Sandy, good morning. I missed you. Yeah. Well, I hope you all enjoyed today. Kind of got us all, the engine moving. I already put them all away. That dynamic one is going to be the one that's going to be in my mind all day. How do I become more dynamic? And for me, it says seeing myself as a being of light and it tumbling out everywhere and touching other souls and other thoughts that aren't so high, and to embrace them and lift them up. The world's very interesting, isn't it? And here we are all living. And Barbara says, wow, I can see the whole process of meditating with these messages. Yes, but you can always go back to this video and see those few. They'll still be on there. And we will all continue to grow and to have new perceptions and a higher understanding. So let me go back to what Chase originally said to make sure I feel comfortable. I answered. Asking prayers for this beautiful earth. How can we raise the frequency of the world collectively? The one word that when I first read this, there is a collective consciousness, but it is the individual where we are. The collective piece will come at a higher dimensional experience. So I didn't mean to not add it to the discussion, but it's going to be higher up as we develop, that it will become a whole. Like, for instance, people in the 7th have become no longer individuals, they're a group. You can see that people today would not want to give that up. They like being an individual. This is who I am. So, growth. Growth is going to bring collectivity, So those who are out there in that, I'm sure they're already working and doing that. And how we become part of that is like a collectivity of our group. And it's not that we're all thinking the same thing, but similar, and with a clear intention of understanding how we want to release who we are out into the world. So, any questions? Let me ask one more time before I go. That's pretty good, Barbara. Yep. Julie says, yes, share your light, collectivity. Okay. So, today was discussion day, and hopefully a very healing day for you to have new perceptions, new understandings about a lot of things, about your chakras and how powerful they are and how important they are to you, and all the different cards that show themselves. And sometimes we get in a limited box, and this is the only thing I can do every day. And now you know there are tools out there similar to coming here that give you options to perceive things differently. And that's the path that's going to blossom quicker, is the one that you know how to give it different flavors of water to help it grow, or different treasures to eat to bring it dynamically. So I want to thank everyone for coming. I so appreciate all of you. Let me see if there's any last words here. Barbara says, dynamic says, bringing harmony everywhere we go. There you go. So I'll be back tomorrow with messages. And make sure you do the thumbs up. And we'll be doing well. Many blessings to all of you. Thank you.